Another day, another British classic. Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, make sure you go down and subscribe. In the last video, we showed another BSA on the channel that we have in the collection. Well, today is another British classic. Now, I promise I don't have a ton of more old British motorcycles hiding in the background, but I do have a couple. And this is one of them. This is an old 50s Triumph T120R. I'm unsure of the year. I want to say it's a 55. I'll put it on the screen after finding out what it is. But it is a T120. Whether it's an R or not is up in the air for debate because, I mean, it's been slightly modified by the previous owner. I do have the head and a couple of other pieces, but it has high lift cams in it. We'll get to that in just a second. The difference between a Triumph T120 and the R is the R has a little plaque right here that has a little drive that goes up for another sensor or another meter, I believe, that tells you some type of information. I should probably know what that information is, but it doesn't have it, so I don't know. Now, I think my dad believed when he bought the bike that it was an R for some reason. I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me and say that it's not, or it is, one way or another. But this bike has been slightly modified, like I said before. Someone chopped the frame, unfortunately, and well, we do have a couple of pieces that will go on the bike to complete the bike. The goal of this is to put it back to semi-original slash semi-race bike, maybe, or just fully street bike. The reason why it's taken apart is because this bike, when my dad bought it, 25 years ago, this bike has racing cams in it. So basically the bike doesn't really idle all too well and has high lift cams. Now he wants to take the motor out, swap the cams, put the regular cams in the bike in order to be streetable, but he just never got around to it. As you can tell, he has a lot of projects that he's been really busy for the last so many years. This bike I do have a lot of pieces for, but unfortunately it's not complete. He did have, I want to say, almost every single piece, but throughout the course of the last 25 years, some pieces ended up in certain places and they're gone. The majority of the pieces are there. I believe this bike was originally an orange bike because there's a tank inside that is orange. I think we're gonna use that tank, not even respray it, but kind of just put it back to a, almost like an original Survivor in a way, even though it's needing some modification to get put back together, and it's gonna get a slight restoration. As you can see, the fender needs respray, the frame is gonna need some work. This bike is needing work, and motor is almost all there. We do have the heads. The carbs, I think they're somewhere, not 100% sure. That might be one of the few pieces that are missing. All the rest of the stuff that goes up here and everything, I believe never came with the bike because it was meant to be a flat tracker. The Triumph T120R, obviously the Bonneville salt flats. This bike was being built for the salt flats and to be a flat track bike. When my dad got it, I don't think it ever got finished, so it kind of was in slight pieces and everything, and then he took it into even more pieces because he wanted to change the cams, which he never got to. But we toyed with the idea of not changing the cams, putting everything kind of back to original slash flat track, because I mean, at one point in its life, that's what it was doing. Whether it got finished, went to the flats, and then got torn apart afterwards again, or whether it never got there is really honestly unknown. My dad found the bike in California when he lived there, and it's just been like this ever since I can remember. Now, I had the idea of kind of making a original slash race bike, leaving some of the flat track parts because that's kind of part of the bike's history at this point, and leaving the cams, but also putting like the original tank back on and a couple of other pieces, fixing the frame and making it look semi-original but also look semi-flat track. I think that'd be kind of a cool hybrid. Let me just come over here and give it a little kick. Kind of cool to see the two parallel twin cylinders in action. We'll leave it just like that. The thing with old British bikes is, I mean, you can leave it like this for so many years and put them back together and then they'll still run just like they did brand new. So that's kind of cool. We look at the little plaque here. Might be a little hard to see on camera, but it says Triumph. I believe there's a serial number there or a patent number there, which is pretty cool. The bike needs to be cleaned, but it's here. It's always been something that I've always wanted to see completed. With a British bike currently getting restored, then we have another British bike that I showed you guys in the last video, the BSA Golden Flash, that's going to get restored after that. And well, this bike will have its turn at some point, hopefully after the BSA, which will be cool because I'm really excited to see this bike actually complete and on the streets again, as much as the streets that you can ride it with the high lift cams if we decide to keep those. Let me know what you guys think we should do in the comment section down below. Do we make it try to go back original, because original is hard to find nowadays? Just leave it like this and make it a flat tracker as it was meant to be, or the person who before we bought it from was going to do? Or do we just do like hybrid, kind of make it like original looking, leave the cams in it, and maybe a couple other pieces that tie back to its flat track history? I think that's kind of the way we want to do it, not making it fully original, because I mean you can go $10,000–$15,000 into restoration and still not have the bike complete. I'm really excited to hear how this bike runs, because I've seen this bike like this for the last 15 years that I can remember. This bike has just been like this.